Pop shuvits are one of my favorite tricks to do because when you do a really clean one, it feels so satisfying. So today, I'm gonna show you how to do a pop shuvit with as much detail as possible so you can get out there and land one and then impress your friends, your family, and those kids on TikTok who keep bullying you. Not that I know from personal experience. But before we get to that, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button down below and maybe even consider subscribing, that would be awesome. Please do it for me because it is 6,000 degrees in this room and I've only been filming for 30 seconds and I'm already on fire. As I've said approximately 400 billion times before, skateboarding takes a lot of time and practice, so I've divided this video into different chunks on the easiest way to learn this trick. As always, you can use the time codes in the description of this video to jump to certain parts if you want a quick refresher. However, if this is your first time trying this trick, I'd really recommend you watch the entire video. This trick may take you several days or maybe even weeks to get down, so feel free to come back to this video when you need a quick refresher. Pop shuvits were one of the first tricks I learned after an ollie, and I still mess them up on occasion, so don't feel bad, don't get frustrated, and remember to have fun. Now, as the Mayans used to say, let's get poppin' and let's get shovin'. Before you even get out there and start working on those nasty pop shuvits, there are a couple of tricks you'll want to have down first. One of those being the ollie. You're going to be ollieing into this trick, so having an ollie down is a must. The more comfortable you are with ollies, the easier pop shuvits will be. If you haven't got those ollies down yet, luckily for you, there is this really cool dude on YouTube who made a quick 3-minute tutorial on how to do an ollie. I'd recommend you go watch that video, and then maybe if you're feeling wild, go watch all his other videos, and then come back to this one. The second trick you'll want to know how to do is just a regular old nasty shuvit. As a quick refresher, a pop shuvit is more air-based versus a shuvit is more ground-based. As you could probably guess from the name, a pop shuvit is going to be very similar to a regular shuvit, so if you got those regular shuvits down, that's like 90% of the work. And again, you're in luck because I actually have a full video about shuvits as well. I'm not trying to make you go and watch all my old videos, though I can see how it looks that way, but there is a reason why I filmed these in a certain order. So go watch those two videos and then come back to this one. I'll be waiting, but not for too long because I've got stuff to do. I've got a dentist appointment in 3 months. Okay, now let's move on to foot placement for the pop shuvit. The motion you do with your feet in a pop shuvit is very similar to how you do it with just a regular old shuvit. However, the foot placement before that motion begins is going to be slightly different. In a regular shuvit, your toes almost hook the side of the board to get it to spin. With a pop shuvit, it's less about the toes doing the spinning motion and more about the whole foot doing the motion. In a pop shuvit, the tail actually will hit the ground before you start doing the spinning motion. With a regular shuvit, it's possible to do these without the tail even touching the ground. The way I personally set up for a pop shuvit is very similar to how I set up for an ollie. But if you choose to, you can have your foot hanging off the tail of the board just a little bit to help give it a good spinning motion. Here is a quick comparison of how my feet look for a regular shuvit versus a pop shuvit. One way to help you visualize a pop shuvit is to think of it kind of like a scissor kick, but with only your back foot. So what is your front foot doing while your back foot is doing the old 1-2 spin? Honestly, not that much. Typically, I do have my front foot a little higher up on the board than I would for an ollie, but that's just kind of a personal preference. If you're more comfortable with having that front foot closer to where it's at for an ollie, that's totally cool. As your front foot reaches the top of the ollie, it's simply going to just move up, make room for the spinning board, and then come back down as the rotation nears completion. I know we just talked about a lot really quick, but don't worry, it will all start to make sense later in this video. Before you hop on the board with your 2 stinky feet, I really recommend that you work on practicing the spin motion first. Now, like I already said, a pop shuvit is pretty much just a scissor kick with your back foot. Here's a quick tip on how you can get that pop and spinning motion down quickly. Step off the board and use your back foot to pop down like you would with an ollie and spin the board. That way you're going to be able to see and get used to the board popping and spinning beneath you. The best part is you'll be able to practice this safely as much as you want without the fear of wiping out and getting a little taste of some cement, which is a Chef Z-Boy official recommendation. But a quick word of caution, while you're practicing this trick, make sure you don't accidentally shove your board into your ankle, because that's not very cash money. If you want to get even more wild and crazy, you can start practicing getting both your feet on the board, but I mean, that's only if you want to be really wild and crazy, and I'm not recommending you get wild and crazy here. So once you got the foot placement down and you've practiced the spin roughly 10,000 times, it's time to move on to the meat of this trick, or if you're a vegetarian, the plant-based meat of this trick. This all starts with the jump, or the scientific name for it, the Ollie. There are a couple essential things you're gonna wanna keep in mind as you Ollie into this pop shove-it. As you crouch down to do the Ollie, it is important to wind up your upper body just the slightest. This will make it a lot easier to spin the board when you Ollie. When you do your Ollie, the second, and I do mean the millisecond, you hear the tail hit the ground, you are going to do that scissor kick motion you were practicing. And I really do mean, like, the second you hear your tail hit the ground, you should start that shoving motion. Because it's gonna happen quick. As soon as your tail hits the ground and you're doing that scissor kick motion with your back foot, this is also when you're going to unwind your body. But you're not spinning your body so hard that you'd be able to do like a 180 or a 360. This is just a very light unwinding. You will be doing just enough unwinding to release the momentum in your legs and do that scissor kick. When you jump into this trick, you want to try to stay directly above your board as much as possible, so focus on jumping straight up. Though because of physics or something, the board is going to move slightly in front of you, so make sure you jump directly up, but lean just a tiny bit forward. However, make sure you do not lean too much forward or too much back, because that's just gonna send the board flying off to space. The most important thing I can say about the jump is to anticipate the board spinning, anticipate where you're going to land, and anticipate the catch, which is our next segment. I am so hot, I'm hallucinating. I'm seeing Shrek Star Wipes. Anyway, let's move on to the catch and the land of the pop shove-it. Once you are in the air and the half rotation has complete, it's time to stomp down that bad boy. Now there is a variety of ways to catch and land the pop shove-it, but the most important thing is that you land with both your dang feet on the dang bolts. Not only will this make the trick look more clean, but it's gonna help with your balance when you come back down to this gooey green earth. If you land with your feet too close together, it's gonna make the board shoot out beneath you, and trust me from experience, that's not a fun time. The best way to prevent this is just try to land on those bolts when your board comes spinning back around. You can worry about how clean or how cool the trick looks once you've got a few hundred under your belt. You can always tweak or add style to the trick once you've got the whole motion down. The easiest way to catch and land this trick is to, right when you do the pop shove-it motion, anticipate seeing those bolts come back around, and when you see them, just stomp down on them. Personally, I really like catching pop shove-its with my front foot while my back foot is still doing the scissor kick motion, but that's just a personal preference because I think it looks kinda cool. Once your feet have hit the bolt and you come back down to the earth, try to remember to keep your weight evenly distributed between both your feet so you don't wipe out. Now that we've gone through and dissected this trick like it's a little froggy in an 8th grade science class, let's do a quick review. By the way, this is a great time code to skip to if you're out skating and you need a quick refresher, wink. First, start with your back foot a little bit more on the edge of your board and your front foot in a comfortable position around the front bolts. Next, do your Ollie and remember to jump directly up, and as the board bounces off the ground, you are going to give the slightest little scissor kick motion. Remember to jump straight up, but lean a tad bit forward to make up for the spinning the board is going to do. However, do not lean too far back or too far forward, as this will send the skateboard too far for you to catch. Move your front foot slightly above the board to keep it out of the way of the spin. Keep both of your feet directly over the board until the rotation completes. Once you feel the board beneath you, put all your weight back down on the board and forcing it to the ground. Then come back down to the earth and just cruise away. Pop shuvits can be really tricky, especially if they are your first trick you're learning after an ollie. However, once you get them down, they're super fun to do. The important thing is to keep practicing, don't get discouraged, and keep making small adjustments until you can land this trick. Learning new tricks can be very frustrating, but just keep in mind that every single time you're out practicing that trick, you're one step closer to landing it. And again, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button on your way out and maybe even consider subscribing if you want to see more skateboarding content like this in the future, that'd be rad. And as always, have fun, good luck, and keep shredding the gnar.